Clay is standing kind of underneath this bridge, kind of not, in front of this fire pit that just went out. The flames danced around as if there was a torrent of wind and then suddenly were extinguished. But there was no wind. It's actually been eerily still. Despite the fact that it should actually be windy, given how many trees have been cut down in this area. After the fire goes out, a little trail of smoke rises from the embers. Something about it feels weird. Feels a little too delicate. And he feels alone. Terribly alone, as if he were the only person in the universe. Just as quickly that feeling passes. He feels like something's different.
Kind of wondering if this is how Marge would have done it. Am I getting some powers now? Some mystics and whatnot? Tate will take a knee and kind of hover his hand over where the fire was to see if it's still hot.
It is not. In fact, you don't even see embers. It's cold.
Tate will scratch his head a little. Sit there and just ponder it for a minute. I really gotta quit running off without Birdie. Kinda wish you were here right now. Tate will stand up and survey around. Does he still get that feeling that, like, something's there or he's being watched?
When he stands up to look around, kind of that feeling of being alone and washes away pretty quickly. He stands up, looks around. Roll a spot hidden real quick. He feels like he's being watched.
Sorry, not prepared. Drives what it's called. $20 under 64. Spot hidden.
Clay looks around, getting this feeling like he's being watched. It's a very distinctive feeling. I think most people can relate. Clay, toward the top of a tree, you notice a bird, a crow, a raven. You're not sure. But it's looking at you in a way that feels very calm, very deliberate. Like there's something behind those black pearls. And it slowly looks down. Kind of, you follow the angle as its head turns gradually. You turn to look where it's looking, kind of behind you. And you notice somebody, a person, crouched kind of behind a tree, haphazardly, not very well. They're covered by the shadow of leaves above them.
Who's out there?
The figure kind of moves a little bit and then sprints in the other direction.
Tate's gonna follow.
Are you sprinting? Are you running?
Oh, full sprint.
Okay. Roll a athletics check.
72 on the die.
He sprints after this figure, but he's still kind of in the sand, and that figure is clearly on firmer soil. They manage to get a little bit further. Go ahead and roll again.
6.
Okay. So Clay initially kind of has to catch himself a little bit as he spins sand, but then he catches his balance, catches his footing, gets up out from the river bank into the woods. You see the figure is still moving, but they clearly just tripped over something about 30 yards ahead of you. They kind of stumble a little bit. You notice that they have a bag. They're still hard to see, but they grab the bag as they're moving and they continue running.
Running after it. 75. What? Why are you running? Stop running.
So you yell at this figure. He kind of recovers from this trip, clutching onto this bag. You notice something fall out of it. You hear this plunk sound into the bush. But he quickly recovers and keeps going. Roll again.
9.
Wow. Okay. Behind the screen, a 95.
Oh.
You continue sprinting. So does he.
As he passes where something might have fallen off, he will drag his toe a little bit to kind of create a track for him to follow later.
Okay. You manage to close a lot of the distance. You get within 10 feet of the person that you're chasing. You manage to get a decent look at him as he turns around. It's a younger man.
Is this one of the two that I saw talking earlier?
Yes. Just then, the younger man turns around and he throws up one of his hands and he mutters something. Suddenly, you feel a terrible shock in your head. Clay feels a cloud wash over his consciousness and the freezing shock of cold water thrown onto somebody, quickly followed by a sensation as if just his brain were submerged in mud. The world spins around him. Roll a willpower check. And so I imagine Clay kind of tries to dodge as he sees this person spin toward him, thinking maybe it's a gun or something like that. This hand raises. He tries to dodge for cover, and then he gets this sensation after hearing this mumbling sound. Power is willpower.
46 under 75.
Clay, the world seems like it's spinning around him. He can't see straight. It's just everything is a blur for a moment, and he has a really difficult time staying upright. He stumbles toward his knees, and he hears just terrible screaming. He hears just this agonized scream, just pain coming from what he thinks is ahead of him. He's able to make out the young man. He's fallen on both his knees, bent over, clutching his head with one hand in almost like a claw, and his other hand holding on to his bag. His face is in the dirt, and he's just screaming.
That guy is not Tate?
No.
Okay.
It's the guy that he was just chasing. Tate's disorientated, losing his balance, stepping around.
Falling over.
In front of him, 10 feet, the person that turned around, that's what he thinks he is the person that's experiencing this right now.
Okay.
He's observing that person. Tate falls. His foot catches a root, and he falls, but he manages to stay conscious. He nearly faints but he's still aware of what's going on around him. He hears the person ahead kind of he hears him get up and kind of like shamble away quickly as if he were hurt. And Tate blinks. He blinks again. He starts to hear a couple birds. And he's back to it.
So I got a good look at him, correct?
Yes.
And he was one of the two I saw earlier. Was he the redhead? Yeah, because there was Andrew and Cameron. Cameron was the Will Scott's kid.
Andrew was the Will Scott's
Andrew was the Will Scott's kid.
Yep.
Who was the one talking, the redhead.
As Clay kind of slowly comes back to his like full consciousness, roll an intelligence check, I think is what I'll make you roll.
31 under 85.
Okay. Wow, he's smart. Clay, kind of in the same way that a dream quickly fades after waking up, you, right after, you open your eyes in the morning, it's like that dream you were just having is like there.
Yep.
It's there. You can see it. And then as soon as you like kick your legs over the side of the bed, half of it's gone. And then as soon as you stand up and go to take a pee, it's you don't remember it at all. You started to kind of feel that way about what just happened, but just as it started to fade, you were able to really lock into it and internalize it. The person you were chasing was that redhead.
Fuck, it's Will Scott's kid. I gotta start feeding my birds a little more. So Tate's kind of upset right now. He just had something happen to him that he wants the ability to do.
Interesting.
So Tate he's thinking to himself. He kind of sits up, pulls his knees in a bit, and thinks for a minute. Not even. Like 15 seconds. Then he scrambles up to where he left that boot mark in the dirt to find whatever book or whatever fell out of the satchel.
Okay. He walks back toward that area. He finds where he kicked over some stuff. With the waning sunlight casting through the leaves, you see something kind of shine a little bit in the leaves of the brush beneath. You can see kind of an indent where something fell through. Reach down and grab it. It's a new bottle of whiskey. Let me ask you, you went to the Townsends, right?
Correct.
Something they sell. You recognize it from there.
Whiskey from the Townsends. Why would Will Scott's kid have whiskey from the Townsends? Opened?
No. Like brand new.
Tate wants to go back to the spot and try to track Andrew.
Roll a track.
22 under 50, critical success.
22.
Did you like my little stim?
Your little stim, that's what you're calling it? I don't know if I even want to tell the audience. What did he just do? Let's go into the Discord right now and tell me, after Sadesky rolled a critical success, what do you think he did to me? Go post your ideas in the spoiler chat on Discord, please and thank you to all our beautiful, beautiful listening audience members. Okay, so you rolled a 22. That is a critical success. You managed to pick up the trail that was left for the first 5-7 minutes of your walking kind of in parity with the speed that the person you're following would be. It almost would appear that you're following somebody that was injured. But when you were chasing him for the first while, he clearly was not. And very quickly, the pace picks up. You can tell this by like the imprint and the way that twigs are broken and whatnot. And eventually you get back out into the field, the clearing. Area of grass closer to the tree line is quite a bit longer than that closer to the houses, generally. It seems like most people cut their grass to a certain point. And you can see, you know, when grass gets like really long and you can see where people have been walking.
Yep.
You know, where the grass is like impacted. Where you're standing, looking out, you can see the Cochran's, you know, Peggy's house. Further down, you can see the Wilscots, which I think you visited. Did you visit the Wilscots?
I don't think we went to the actual house, no.
Okay. And then you look to your right toward kind of the, you know, city center town, not city center, the like downtownish area. The footprints in the grass lead that direction toward the right.
Tate's going to head that way.
At a certain point, you lose them, but you get the vague idea that this person headed that direction. And if you, like, once the trail kind of stops and you keep walking, just like in a straight line based on, you know, the footprints that you've since lost, you eventually get kind of to the alleyway between the Wilscots and the Townsends, the inn and the general store. Then you remember that you and your partner had said you would meet at the Wilscots.
Being stealthy, if I creep up towards the front, do I see Birdie? Or do I hear his loud rambling inside the inn?
Yeah, so anyway.
You know how Birdie likes to get with talking to people.
How long do you stand by the front door before peeking in?
Well, he would walk towards the front of the building, look out in the street, see if he's there or not. And then he would go, and I'm assuming this place has a window.
It does.
He would look in the window first.
And you see Birdie in there waiting for you. Birdie.
Yes, sir.
You walked back to the Wilscots, right?
Correct.
What'd you do when you walked in?
Well, he would, his plan would be to go sit at the bar and order a beer and a sandwich and wait for Tate.
Oh, hey, welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back. Let's see. I'm guessing that my partner ain't back yet, right?
I haven't seen him, so I would think not, but...
In that case, I'd love a beer. And what you got for food tonight?
Tonight we have baked potatoes, some bacon, and I think we have some cheese that we just got in.
I'll take a plate of that, please.
All right, one or two?
Just one's fine.
Just the one. All right. Okay. Well, I'll be right back then. He turns around and goes to get your stuff.
Good.
He comes back with a plate, one medium-sized potato, baked, bacon, cheese, and a nice cold beer.
Perfect.
Right when you go to take a bite of the potato, you know how, like, when you haven't eaten very much in a day, and then as soon as you smell food, your stomach just, like, feels like, feed me. The plate gets in front of you, and you're like, dude, oh man, I am hungry. You take your fork, put it right into the potato, and then the door opens behind you. In walks Clay.
Clay will hurriedly walk up and take a seat right next to Birdie. Seeing the cold beer, grabs it, takes a big gulp,
Hey.
and sets it down. It's all right. Have you seen Wilscott's kid in the last 5 minutes? Redhead boy running around?
No, I have not. And
He's a witch, Birdie. No, I'm not lying.
Okay. Well, can a man eat a potato before getting hit with this? Drink a beer in peace? I mean, all right.
When you get your mind scrambled, Birdie, by some mystical witch-like power, I'll let you eat a potato.
Okay. Birdie's going to put the fork down.
Will Scott here?
He's in back. Before he comes out here, why don't you go ahead and give me a rundown of what transpired?
Brief. I followed the path back.
Yep.
I found this bridge and a shoreline and a mighty river.
Okay.
Looking up underneath the bridge.
The door opens. Out comes Will Scott. Oh, hey, did you need anything? Beer, potato?
How do you want to handle this?
I would like another beer because my partner here showed up with a mighty thirst and took mine. You hungry?
I don't got time for that, Birdie.
All right, just the beer then.
Just one more, not two. It looks like that one's already pretty well taken care of.
2 beers, please.
2. Okay. You're good on dinner?
Yeah, we're gonna.
I'll get some later.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're gonna finish it up over at the table over here.
All right. Sure. He starts, grabs some. You hear the glasses clink around, and he fills them.
I came from behind the inn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I notice a back door?
Yeah, there's a back door, and it's clearly like they load things up, back there, like supplies
Yep.
and.
All right, Clay, come join me at this table over here.
Did Will Scott walk away yet?
He kind of very shortly after you guys sit down at the table, he follows, sets down the 2 beers, and then goes back to behind the bar and starts, polishing his glasses.
Birdie is going to pick up one of the beers and take a good quaff from it.
Yeah.
As does Tate.
Okay.
Where was I?
Yeah, you were speaking softly.
There was underneath the bridge some ritualistic drawing.
Can I have you guys roll a stealth check real quick, or like a whisper check?
I rolled an 80 over, stealth check over 21. So,
Oh yeah, mark that as a failure because you
yeah.
can improve that.
Good call.
72 over 60. So I failed by 12. And if somebody that was trying to listen failed by 15, A, we wouldn't know that, but B, like that would count as a pass.
Okay, carry on.
Some ritualistic drawing under the bridge. I was able to smudge a lot of the symbols and get rid of them, but I couldn't get rid of the circle.
Wait, you tried to erase them?
It gets better.
Okay, keep going.
So I smudged the rest. I used some gunpowder, right? Smudged the rest of the circle. And then I continued looking around, and there was a little bonfire of sorts. Like where somebody would be sitting on the beach, and kind of weird though. Gave me some feelings, some I did what any sane man would do, Birdie. I lit it.
You lit the bonfire.
Oh, after I searched it, there was a penny, a quarter, and some little bones in there. Some sort of animal or person or baby. I don't know, Birdie.
Well, hold on a sec. I mean, are we talking like a little sparrow, a little fish,
I got no clue. Just
puppy,
little bones.
just no skulls?
All of the above.
All right,
I couldn't.
All
They
right,
were too distinguished. So,
okay.
like a sensible gentleman, Birdie, I lit the fire. And as soon as I lit it, I could just tell I was being watched. After a few minutes, I threw in the quarter and the penny again, just see what would happen. The wind started picking up, but it didn't, kind of like the wind was just on the fire, but not on anything else. And it blew the fire out cold. Nothing whatsoever.
Blew it out cold.
I could have licked that log, Birdie. Then I checked my back where I thought I was being watched from, and there was a crow or a raven or something like that staring at me with due intent.
Go on.
And the bird looked down, and I followed the vision. Saw a figure standing, crouching. Yeah, I'd say he was crouching there in the woods. And what does an investigator do, Birdie? He chases him.
Of course you did.
I I tried to talk to him first.
Mm-hmm.
I tried the birdie approach, but it didn't work. He ran. I was starting to get up to him. I almost had him, Birdie. And he turned around and shoved his hand up at me. I tried to dodge, but just felt like I kind of got shot in the head. But I was
Birdie's
able
gonna
to push through it.
Birdie's gonna like look up from his, like piece of potato and bacon on his fork. He's just gonna kind of look up and like look at Clay real quick. Like, does he look like he got punched in the face, or does he look normal?
Physically, yeah.
Okay.
It made me disorientated and woozy. I was stumbling and I think I tripped on something. Then I was watching, or I think I was watching the figure, and I'm pretty sure it was,
I don't know.
And he kind of looks over at Will Scott, his son.
Well, Andrew?
You got it. Screaming in pain.
We haven't met Andrew yet, have we?
Nope. You saw him when you first got to town, talking with another young man,
That's right. Yep.
and he was like, no,
Yep.
yeah.
He was screaming, clutching onto his head,
What?
and then got up and ran, and there was a bottle of whiskey that fell out of his bag that I don't think he necessarily paid for. And
Can I have you two roll another stealth check? Just given the length of this conversation and the fact that you're alone in this inn.
22 over 21.
Oh.
So still a fail.
We were this close to greatness.
66 over 60.
66 over 60?
Yeah.
Okay. As you're talking, kind of telling the story, what do you think Clay would do to crit fail that?
I'm not too certain, but I'm pretty sure he stole a bottle of booze from the general store. Like, to crit fail, he just doesn't realize that he's getting louder and louder and louder. Talking pretty loud at the end without just so into the conversation.
When you kind of, you have your crit fail, your volume increases. He doesn't quite realize that he's talking a little bit louder, often like how I am. And Will Scott behind the bar kind of stops. He sets down his glass. Sorry, guys, I don't mean to. Somebody stole whiskey from next door, Townsend?
Birdie, I followed him here. Or as close as here as that I could.
The thief is here?
Possibly.
Oh.
Mr. Will Scott, you know where your son's at right now?
My son?
Yeah, I believe his name is Andrew.
I don't. Do you think he stole whiskey from... We don't let our kids drink.
Mr. Will Scott, this came out of your son's bag as he was running away from me. And he holds up the bottle of whiskey.
And Birdie, you recognize it. It's one of the bottles you bought when you brought... It's the same type. It's the same brand and bottle that you brought to the Geraldines.
Well, I know that general store definitely sells that bottle. Now, Mr. Will Scott, we ain't here to give anybody a hard time if they got light fingers. Well, that's not our jurisdiction.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know where he is. He's I don't know. Usually he's home by, for dinner. But sometimes I don't know. You think he stole some whiskey? I'll talk to him about it.
That'd be good. Just down that path is no man should walk that path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll forget about the whiskey. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, carry on.
I feel like you're kind of trying to hide from him the full extent of, what's going on. Can I have you roll like a deceit check?
Let's see here. There's some good. Let's see. How about a persuade, or fast talk, or intimidate?
Because you're
I think
okay.
that'd be fast talk.
you're always welcome to argue why that makes more sense than a fast talk or whatever.
I want to persuade.
Okay.
And the goal of the persuasion is that the focus of this conversation is on a stolen bottle of whiskey.
Okay. Let's do it this way because I think this is fun. So the way you want to respond to this is by persuading him. Roll your persuade and then role play based on the outcome of the roll.
Do you want me to tell you my role, or do you want to do you want to guess it based on how this goes?
Let's start with the role play and then tell me after, or tell the audience after. Let's see if they can guess it.
Yeah, the last thing we need is, a bunch of youths thinking that they could, steal stuff from stores, right? That's just
yeah,
that's bad, and definitely don't want them thinking that it's okay to flee from the law.
Oh, of course not. I
Yeah.
raised my boy to know better.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as far as why he was fleeing from him, or why Tate was chasing him, I mean, I'm sure Tate had a good reason to chase him, but let's see. But anyway, yeah, having a bottle from the store that he shouldn't have had, and my partner, like,
Birdie, have you
I'm
had a
surprised
few
he didn't-
bottles you shouldn't have had?
I'm just glad you didn't shoot him.
Shoot him? Why would you shoot him?
I didn't mean to suggest that anybody was going to get shot over a supposed stolen bottle of whiskey.
Well,
Mr. Wilscott.
why were you chasing him? Why would you shoot him?
Yeah, Birdie, why would I shoot him? I think you might be the bigger problem right now. Get outside. I got to talk to you.
Birdie's going to tuck into his food. I'm eating my dinner.
Well, what's going? I just, guys. I'm sorry, not guys. What's going on here? I just want to know what's going on with my kid. He stole a bottle. Why are we talking about chasing? Why were you chasing him in the first place?
Has your son been reading a lot lately?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
'Cause he might be into some very unforgiving activities.
Now that's a bit premature to say. Mr. Wilscott.
Will Scott's gonna pull out one of the chairs and sit down at the table.
All right. So we're here because of the recent bouts of deaths.
Do you think he has something to do with this?
We don't know.
I do.
Okay. Well, Clay, why don't you go ahead and tell him why?
What I'm going to tell you, Mr. Wilscott, might be hard to hear.
He's, he's kind of scooches back into the chair, sits up really straight, kind of puts one arm over the other and like leans really into the table. And he's like really strongly looking at you right now.
Birdie takes a deep breath, says, all right, now before we actually get into what we think we know and what we're working towards, it must be understood that right now we are still in the investigative process.
Sure,
okay?
sure. That's fine.
We don't know anything for certain.
Listen, Marshall, I with all due respect, I thank you. But this man just accused my son of being involved in something. I'm sorry. Special Agent Clay, please tell me why you said what you just said.
Well, he hasn't slept that well, and it's been a trying couple days. So I think he might have spoke out of turn a little bit. Okay?
We
No.
were investigating Peggy. Now,
Peggy?
that'd be correct. And followed a pretty well-trodden path out the back of her place through the woods. And he kind of points out towards the back. And it led to that river out back there. Now there were...
The river, which, yeah, right, okay.
There were a few strange things about this place.
From what I hear, Birdie's going to look at Clay kind of with intent. From what I gather, it sounds like the kind of place where they go to, sit a spell and get away from the parents. Maybe nip on a ill-gotten bottle of spirits.
You said bridge, right? Or did you only say river?
River.
Okay, continue.
I might have said the bridge. I don't remember.
So it sounds like there's a spot over there where the kids like to hang out.
Well, they used to, ever since, well, I don't know. I spend most of my time here, okay? And, you know, Andrew's mom, she has a lot to do at home. She works a little bit too. Well, we don't get to sit and follow what the kids do all day. I hear from the other parents, the river, okay. And he kind of puts his hand into his head. Almost, and then he starts like massaging. He starts massaging his temple.
There was a mysterious kind of fire pit there that would blow itself out. You heard of anything like that?
I haven't.
Birdie is staring daggers at Clay right now. Like,
I do want to mention this directly opposes the
I know.
directives of the commission.
yeah.
Parts of it.
Parts of it.
They're important parts.
And your son was sulking and watching me.
By the river, by a fireplace by the river. What does that have to do with the deaths?
When I went to confront and talk, they just ran. I almost had them, then they assaulted me
Andrew assaulted you.
to an extent. Now,
He shakes his head
Mr.
and
Wilscott,
lifts a hand. Like, what do
how
you
long
mean?
ago did your boy have issues with the Geraldine boy?
I don't know. A couple weeks ago, what is his name? Evan. He spit on him from on top his horse. Who wouldn't have a problem with him? I don't see what that has
And-
to do with anything.
What did your boy have in relation to the Cochran?
To the Cochrans?
Yeah, Steph Cochran.
Stephanie Cochran. Oh, I don't know. What does this have to do with anything?
Right now, his actions make him a suspect.
The only thing I ever heard him say about Stephanie Cochran was, I don't know, her perfume was too strong.
Do I believe that?
Roll for it.
75 over 30 psychology. Fail.
Yeah, he doesn't have any reason to disbelieve him.
What about Lillian?
Lillian? Listen, I don't know. I'm gonna make you roll for that question.
Roll what?
You tell me. What do you want to roll? Roll for it and then role play it. Meanwhile, Birdie is sitting there chewing his potato, drinking his beer.
Nope. Birdie is
Oh,
pushed away the food. Still just
I don't even know what you would roll for that, for a question.
well, it's like he clearly doesn't want to answer these questions.
being intimidated, probably.
Yeah, intimidate, persuade. If you wanted to approach it like, listen, I'm the law. You need to answer this question. Or listen, do you want to get your kid out of trouble? You got to help me. You got to work with me. Like think about it like a police interrogation.
Mhm.
The different techniques they use. How do your skills apply to those? Or just fucking pull your gun out and point it at them.
Yep.
Tell me what I need to know.
Yeah, you're an investigator.
I just tell it. I don't know.
Yep.
The world is your oyster, man. And we're hungry for oysters. So
Ever hungry for oysters.
yes.
We'll try a persuade.
Okay, roll for it, and then role play it.
It's an 80 over 35. He's not a very good talker. Mr. Wilscott, I get being upset.
I understand that you get being
I
upset.
need to know these things so I can help you.
I don't understand how my boy, so far as I can tell, you found a bottle of whiskey on my boy. What does that have to do with his feelings toward Peggy Wilkson?
He had feelings toward Peggy Wilkson?
Well, nevertheless, you need
So-
to stop. Please listen,
If you don't mind,
Mr. Clay.
do you mind if I just cut in here real quick? Yeah, this conversation has got a bit out of hand. All right, and for that I apologize.
He kind of like exhales and then sits up and crosses his arms.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. what we would like to do is have a chat with your boy, and you can be present. All right? But we'd like to talk to him when we can, okay? Because there are certain parts of this investigation that potentially tie to your boy, and we just need to clear the air to see what's going on. Our sole purpose here...
Just then, the front door crashes open. You hear the handle, and the door throws very, very quickly, very hard. And in comes Townsend from the general store. He's got a handgun
Tate pulls his
in his left hand.
instinctively.
Roll for me. Roll like a reflex check or something like that.
84.
Birdie also draws because there's a gun.
Yep. Well, and also this is like a really abrupt, loud thing.
All right, perfect. I rolled a 44 under 70.
So the door handle, you hear the door handle turn, and the door is thrown open aggressively. In comes the Townsend, the shopkeeper from next door. He's got a handgun in his left hand, and he kind of lazily throws his arm up toward you, right? Like it kind of goes backwards and then throws it up. Before he can get it on target toward the table, toward you two, Birdie and Clay both go to draw their pistols. Birdie's just lightning quick.
Stop! Right there! Freeze!
The gun goes off, and the recoil kind of throws the hand backwards. Something in the face of Townsend looks off.
Birdie's pulling his trigger. 20 under 61.
Okay, roll damage.
That's a 9.
The bullet goes straight into his left collarbone, and the exit wound clearly splatters on the wall behind him. His neck dangles just a little bit, and you see some of the just blood go, and the gun falls from his hand as he tumbles to the side.
Birdie is getting up and going to the door.
It's that time, once again, a Tuesday morning, or whatever day you're listening to this, and whatever time of day you're listening to this. Maybe it's a Tuesday afternoon, 4 years after this episode aired, in which case, hello, traveler. But thank you all for listening. I have to admit, so my voice, I kind of jacked it up a little bit, doing some screaming sound effects, and as not to disturb my neighbors, I hopped in my car, drove down the street a little bit. I'm sure I looked so inconspicuous, and then just, screaming into the microphone. Yeah, but hey, that's what we're here for. Oh my goodness, my cat is assaulting me right now. Anyway, yes, thank you for listening. Big shout out to all the beautiful people in the Discord that hang out, that play games, that we chat with. A fella named Chris from the Chaos Engine podcast is a cool mamma jamma. But yeah, share the show, like the show, subscribe to the show, listen to the show, all that jazz. Check out the merch. Hey, we got merch. Oh, I wear it every day, almost. Most days, almost every day, maybe every day. It depends, but you'll never know. But I do wear it. I mean, we got some really cool stuff, and where I can, when I can, I'll give it to some friends or people. My grandparents. I just took a vacation up to my grandparents, and they were like, "Wow, that hat's really cool." And I actually got I got a custom hat for my grandpa, which I'll be putting on the website at some point. But it's a white black and red hat. It's black's my color. But my grandpa, he likes white, so you gotta get your grandpa the white hat. Anyway, so that'll be on the website too, pretty soon here. But yeah, they're all good, reasonably priced items. Making shows. I mean, really doing anything like this
obviously costs money, which, if you guys buy a shirt, that helps us out greatly. Patreon, the bloopers reel is coming together. What we're going to end up doing is having a $3 tier that's just hey guys, thanks for listening. You want to support us. We appreciate it. $5 will get you access to the bloopers reel, as well as the old Parasol offline thing, which I still need to edit. $7, you'll get access to the second show, which is Dungeon Mastered, Game Mastered, handled by Sadesky. He's written a Dungeons and Dragons 5e campaign, and he loves D&D, and it's one of the first things that he's written from scratch that I know of, outside of love letters to me and Dubois, but that's neither here nor there. So that'll be a thing. But the D&D stuff is a lot of fun. I mean, obviously Suffer Not handles more serious and dramatic topics, so being able to just play a dwarf that dances when he's stressed out and has a funny accent, it's very refreshing. It's very enjoyable. And then for the $10 tier, we're going to have a once a month hangout in the Discord. There's a locked room that only folks that are doing that $10 tier will be able to access. We'll do all kinds of things, plan game nights, movie nights, stuff like that. We'll do polls so people have an option, and we'll schedule those on kind of a case-by-case basis each month, depending on holidays and work schedules, and because I have a job. Anyway, so yeah, that's where we're at. For the bloopers reel, I have 20 minutes of the Apollo's Cradle stuff. So the way that I'm going to release them is everything that's already out, I'm going to release in big mega mixes, like a 20-minute mix that's the first 5 episodes, and then another one that's 6 to 10, etc. Up until the point that we're caught up, which shouldn't be terribly long, right? Once we're caught up with the bloopers reels, those are going to be released weekly. So as we're editing, we'll just chop those up. It'll be 2, 3, 5-minute segments of us shooting the shit, stuff that's irrelevant, tangents, funny stories, interesting stories, jokes that just didn't really fit the vibe. We're interrogating a guy about his son doing fucking witchcraft, and we're cracking fart jokes, and you guys don't even realize it. Nah, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm not kidding. But and then you get to hear those if you're paying the, what did I say, $5 a month tier. So that's all that. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your week. To summarize, right? Awesome merch on the website. Discord, okay? The community is growing. It's building. And the Patreon is coming. And I went over some of the things on there. And I said, thank you for listening. What's going on? Questions, theories, in the cord.